From once being considered a throw-in in the OG Anunoby trade to now having such a huge impact that the New York Knicks are actually changing their trade plans. Precious Achiuwa is doing things that nobody thought he was going to do with the New York Knicks, and we have to break it down for you. We're going to talk about Precious Achiuwa's impact and how he's changing what the New York Knicks are planning to do by the trade deadline. All of this and so much more today. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and make sure you have notifications turned on so you don't miss a second of the new content. And now, let's get started. Everything is so precious. And that's how it feels when you have your All-Star and Julius Randle go down, and then you have a guy like Precious Achiuwa step in and have the impact that he's having, not only on the offensive end, but also on the defensive end as well too, especially under a coach like Tom Thibodeau, who expects so much of his players when they're out there on the defensive end. For Precious Achiuwa to be playing nearly 40 plus minutes in some games says a lot about him, his play, and how much Tom Thibodeau values him and what he does for this Knicks team in Julius Randle's absence. Again, we never thought we was going to see this type of play from Precious Achiuwa. We knew he was good, and we saw the highlights with the Raptors. We knew what we were getting when he was coming to this team. We just didn't know how it was going to apply for this Knicks team, how he was going to fit, and where in the rotation he was going to be. But then, when injuries happen, it's next man up mentality. And once that happens, all bets are off the table because you never know how a player is going to react when they're given that many minutes and they're asked to make an impact. But Precious Achiuwa has made a legit impact, so much so that the New York Knicks have actually changed their trade plans going into the trade deadline. At some point, they were looking and targeting big men, but after Achiuwa's play, they're focused solely on trying to get another guard in the backcourt. According to Ian Begley, he notes that the Knicks have previously checked in on some big men on the market, but New York has recently cooled on that idea of acquiring a backup big man, per teams in touch with the Knicks. Presumably, Precious Achiuwa's strong play has contributed to New York thinking on the center position. And according to Bondi, Achiuwa was thought of as little more than a throw-in as part of the OG Anunoby trade. The Knicks desperately needed a big man after Mitchell Robinson potentially season-ending injury. And getting a player who could give them a dozen or so minutes would be a huge win. Achiuwa has done that and way more, surprisingly turning into Tom Thibodeau's most relied upon players over the past 2 weeks. On January 20th, Achiuwa was thrust into the bigger spot in the rotation. He has averaged 9.9 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 1.3 blocks in 30.9 minutes per game since then, including 3 starts. His impact on winning has been enormous. Only Jalen Brunson and James Harden have had a bigger plus-minus in the entire league in that span. Achiuwa is realizing his defensive potential. Achiuwa has the skill set to be a massively impactful defender. He's a great rebounder and a good athlete with a 7-foot wingspan. His performance on that end of the floor is what has earned him Tom Thibodeau's trust. If you want to play for Tom Thibodeau, you want to have an impact, you want to showcase what you can do and show your skill set, show up on defense. Be there on defense. Be the best defender you can possibly be and play the best defense you've ever played in your entire career. You do those things, you're going to be a Tom Thibodeau favorite. Precious Achiuwa, to his credit, saw the opportunity arising, saw the injuries mounting, and said to himself, I'm going to apply myself in the way I know that's going to get me minutes here. Be a great defender, and whatever I can do on offense, I'm going to do. His 2-man game with Jalen Brunson, where Brunson finds him in the paint, and he's helping cleaning up the glass, or he's finishing dunks, or he's catching the pass, and he's finishing inside, that play right there has endeared him not only to Tom Thibodeau, but to the New York Knicks fans as well too. Because a lot of fans early on, myself included, did not like Precious Achiuwa because he didn't really have an impact for the New York Knicks when he was out there. He was playing, but he was just running out there. It was like he was just playing cardio. He wasn't having the impact he was having now. Now, maybe that's because he was joining a new team. He didn't know where he would fit. He didn't know his role or how many minutes he would play. And maybe when you're thinking about all of that, it's going to hurt your game and hurt your play a little bit. But when the injuries happened and Tom Thibodeau needed him to step up, needed him to play defense, needed him to step in there and play the offense that we didn't know he had for the New York Knicks, he did all of that and more. We could not be happier. As Bondi mentioned here, Achiuwa has done way more than anybody expected, which turned him into one of Tom Thibodeau's favorite players and a player that he relies upon the most in the last 2 weeks. And I think I speak for many Knicks fans when I say that we all appreciate his play, we love his play, and we are shocked by it. We knew what he could do in Toronto, but he hasn't been doing that really consistently. So to think he would come to the New York Knicks and do that, it's a little bit foolish. But he's been doing that, ladies and gentlemen, and I've been very shocked and surprised by it because he's legitimately changed what the New York Knicks were gonna do. If everybody remembers, once Mitchell Robinson went down and we only had Isaiah Hartenstein, we let go of Taj Gibson. We all thought that the New York Knicks were going to hone in and focus on a big man in the market to try to get as a backup just in case anything happened. We knew we had Jericho Sims, but we needed a little bit more. Fast forward to today, we're not doing that anymore. Shout out to Ian Bagley. He mentioned it. The Knicks are not looking at a big man anymore because Precious Achiuwa and his strong play has turned heads and has made the New York Knicks look at exactly what they need on the trade market. Another bench piece, another strong guard that can come in and help stabilize the offense once Jalen Brunson is not in the game. That's exactly what they need. That's what they're focused on. And the reason that they can focus on this is because Precious Achiuwa has had one of the best plays of any New York Knicks player on this team for the last few weeks. That's saying something when you share the court with the likes of Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson. But going back to Achiuwa, once the Knicks are fully healthy and we have a stacked roster with everybody focused and ready, Precious Achiuwa's role will become a lot more clear for this Knicks team. He'll obviously come off the bench. I'm not sure how many minutes he's going to get, but one thing is for sure. Whether he's starting, whether he's coming off the bench, no matter what, when he's on the floor, he's going to have an impact. He's going to play, and Tom Thibodeau clearly can rely on him depending on if the Knicks have any foul trouble, if any players are out with injuries or sickness, whatever the case may be. That next man up mentality is absolutely strong. I've said it in a couple of videos, but I got to say it again. Knicks culture, Thibs culture, whatever you want to call it, it has to exist. You cannot explain what this Knicks team is doing each and every night with their roster depleted, with them missing a lot of players, key, significant players on their roster, and they're still winning. They're still finding a way to win, sometimes even blowing out teams that you're looking to yourself and you're thinking, how could they possibly be blowing out this team without one of their best players in Julius Randle playing? And that's what they've been doing. They've been dominant. Precious Achiuwa has stepped in very nicely for Julius Randle. He's not had the same impact because, again, nobody can fill in exactly for Julius Randle. You can't fill those shoes. But seeing the way Precious has stepped in and been relied upon on defense, on offense, even though he doesn't have the same impact as Randle, having somebody like that in the wings, in the reserves, able to come off the bench, step in, either start or play heavy minutes, it's so clutch to have a player like that. He's done so well for this Knicks team. I'm so happy he's part of this roster. And again, he's gone from throw-in to impactful player. Single-handedly, through his own merit, through his own play, changed what the New York Knicks were going to do at the trade deadline. If anything, he's helping the New York Knicks because we didn't really need another big man. We really needed another guard, somebody else who can help the offense. And now with Precious Achiuwa's play, the Knicks are more focused on doing that than anything else. And thank you to Precious for doing that. Thank you for your play. Thank you for being so impactful that you can change the direction of a franchise. That's what you've done. I want to give you credit. I want to say how much I appreciate it. I know a lot of Knicks fans around the organization, a lot of Knicks fans around the world, in New York, everywhere, appreciate your play, what you're doing, and the impact that you're having. The Knicks look good. The Knicks look really good. And we are down a number of key players. And we look like this. Once we get those players back, and if the Knicks make another impactful move before the trade deadline, which I believe they will, we are setting ourselves up to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference come the postseason. And if that happens, or should I say, when that happens, The Knicks are gonna look dangerous, gonna look lethal, and gonna look like a team you want to avoid in a 7-game series. Music to my ears, and that makes me smile because we haven't been able to say that about a Knicks team in the better part of maybe what, a decade? 2 decades? I don't know how long it's been, but I know one thing. It's been long enough. It's our time. We are here. Strong plays from Precious Achiuwa, Hartenstein, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, and the rest of the crew for the New York Knicks are why we're here. That next man up mentality is why we're here. Knicks culture is real, and the players on this roster prove it each and every night, especially the new and improved Precious Achiuwa, because that's what he's looking like. And you know what, guys? That is a beautiful thing to see. But what about you guys? What do you think about Precious Achiuwa playing so well and having such a major impact that he actually changed the New York Knicks trade plans and have them looking more into a guard than a big man? Let me know in the comments below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below, and of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knick fans. Peace.